Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Alright, so where did we leave off? We just finished. We were just setting out to connect our fire controller with our FL Studio 20. So we realized that, we're supposed to be making a from a beginning point of view, right?
Yeah.
And we've actually done a little bit of work before. So we need to rewind all the way back to the beginning. And we need to explain to somebody who has never opened up the software before what it's like, how to use it. So we were just playing around. The kids just hit a bunch of buttons, added a pattern. It's on pattern. The button is lit right here, pattern song. So if I hit play, you can see it go through, and that's really neat. I just noticed that, how the lights go through as it goes through the pattern. That's really cool. This is a really nice controller.
And then you can press this to reset.
Yes, and that'll reset at the beginning of the pattern. So if you were halfway through the pattern, you could pause it, and then you hit this stop button, and it's going to take you to the beginning of the pattern again. Whereas if you play a pause, it's going to start again in the middle of the pattern where you left off. You hit stop. It was right here in the pattern.
And now
that unlit,
right,
and now it's going to start at the beginning again.
Dun, 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 dun.
So that's how that works. This is the play, pause button. It's going through the pattern we made. And the pattern we made was just hitting buttons or not hitting buttons. So the kids really like this pattern, so I don't want to mess it up here. So let's go to the software. Again, I'm really sorry. I have to wait for Cyber Monday to get some proper presentation software. So we're going to have to do this old style. So starting in the top here, I'm going to hope over here, I hope it works. We have File, Edit, Add, Patterns, View, Options, Tools, and Help. Now when you first open your software, I would say the most important one is going to be Options, and you're going to need to set up your MIDI settings. We already did this in the last video. The second we plugged in, this was already here when we opened it up. So,
it was already enabled when we plugged it in.
Yeah, that's called plug and play, and that's actually working the way it's supposed to. Then you go down here. This was selected, and it's already was on enable. So let's close that out. So what I did was I went and I saved our song. So I said File. Let's go to Save As. So you can see here, really neat, and we're actually going to talk about this, how classy it is. FL Studio, what they let you do is they let you try the software out. You can save all the work you do, you just can't reopen it. So you can, every single time you start the computer, you could create a new song and save it. You can't reopen it until you buy the software, but you didn't lose all your work. So what we have all the songs we've made that we liked. We saved them already.
Yeah.
And now that we have a licensed software, we can open things. So
shall we show them our spooky beats in honor of?
we will. Do you want to, since we already saved this, we're going to open. Let's save our changes. You want to open Spooky Beats?
Just in honor of Halloween. Then we're going to go right back on the...
Okay. So, yeah, we really need to get to the... You see what's happening here is the kids are so excited, and we've been using the software, and they just want to keep running with it. So, this is a good opportunity. So, you heard me play Spooky Beats, and that's actually a song we made. And it's amazing how easy it was to make a song and how nice it came out, huh? So, let's go through the parts of your software here. So you have what's called a channel rack right here. Off on the left, I believe they call it the browser. I think the best thing you could do if you were starting out, BusyWorks Beats did a great video about the 5 most important elements, and I'm essentially going to go through, and I'm basically going through what he had taught me. Okay, so we're starting back again. We had to pause the video for a second. So you know, we're so far ahead of ourselves. And we really only used the software, what, 2 other times before this, right? And this is the third time we're opening it up and with a registered version now. So let's start going through the different elements of your screen here. On the far left, you have your browser. Browser is where you can do, and I don't know what all this does yet, but there's a very few important parts here. If you scroll down, it starts out at current project. Down here, where is it? Packs. Inside of packs are going to be the pieces of what you're going to assemble, the flavors of each layer of your cake, right? Because
let them eat cake.
You know, here's your channel rack, and that's where you can make a layer of your cake, and then you can paste your layer of your cake onto your cake platter, which is your song. So that's one way to think about it. I like the BusyWorks. I don't want to bite off his style, so BusyWorks would say these are puzzle pieces, and this is your entire puzzle. We're gonna say this is like a layer of your cake, and you can have different flavors inside of your layer, and then you're taking your layer of your cake and you're painting it onto the first part of your plate of your cake. So here is the bottom layer of your cake, and here's the second layer of your cake, and here's the third layer of your cake. And in different points, people are going to taste or not taste different elements of your cake. So you're going to have this layer, it's going to be tasted across the entire cake, but you might only taste this piece here and not here and here. And this is how elements of your song can kind of come in and out. So again, we're probably going to have to reshoot this entire thing once we have some decent presentation software, but we wanted to get off and running. So on the far left, you have your browser. This is where you're going to pull your elements, your flavors, if you will, into your layers. So you're going to pull you know, a piece of an instrument, a part of a song, a noise that you've saved, and you're going to take an element of a song and you're going to put it in as a little layer. And so your channel rack is where you can assemble several pieces of musical elements together, and you want to make sure you don't get too complicated. You don't want to put your entire song into one channel rack, into one pattern, because then you will lose the ability to do things down the road. There's a thing called your mixer. And so down here, you can see a little tiny piece of our mixer. And the mixer can be, you know, you see how that goes all the way across? So the mixer controls the different tracks of your song. And this is where, you know, I'm a beginner and a novice, and so people, please leave in the comments anything that I've misspoken or things needs to be clarified. But each track, each layer of your cake can be controlled to how much flavor and taste they're going to have of each layer. So, you know, when we made our spooky beat, you want to talk about this?
When we made our spooky beat, we were really excited, and we put in a lot of stuff. And
it was overwhelming. It was too much stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we had to take away just.
So, you know, we'll go back to the beginner stuff, but what we ended up having to do is we created a song that had so many elements. I had to go and I had to turn down the volume on each of these different elements. I had to turn down the flavor on the different layers because it became overwhelming, huh? Mm-hmm. And it was just like a just noise.
A mountain of cake.
A mountain of cake. What do we say?
Let them eat cake.
We will let them eat cake, and they will eat the cake. So anyway, so let's go through. This is our spooky beat. This is what it looks like arranged on the cake platter. The song palette, I don't know if you're painting, you know, you imagine your song as you go through is there.
You're painting the Mona Lisa.
You're painting the Mona Lisa. And so here is our Mona Lisa. You have different elements that come in and out. So, you know, you see we're very simple here. We didn't know what we're doing. So this was called pattern 1. I called this one 2. So you're going to read, you know, I really like In the Mix. In the Mix does some fantastic videos. And In the Mix will show you how name the pattern what it is, drums, violin, whatever. Give it a name. And he even talks about how you can give colors. So we're going to learn about these things and apply them. But because I'm a beginner and I don't know how to do that stuff yet. So we're worrying about having fun and making songs. So we're doing things super simple. But I suggest you watch some fantastic videos from In the Mix. BusyWorks Beats also has an incredible collection of videos. So those two are where I have derived most of my learning from. So we just ran with it, and this was this the second session? I think this was the second session or the first?
Yeah.
I think it was the second session. And we created this.
Because we were having a lot of fun and we wanted to make some kind of funny thing.
Yep. So let's get back to some learning.
Yeah, learning time.
Learning time. So let's see. That's the playlist. So let's go over a few things. The first button here, and this is where BusyWorks has a fantastic video. These first set of buttons are the most important things. And you'll notice as you click them or don't, you make windows visible or not visible. So here's our song, but we don't want to worry about that right now because we're learning about learning and you don't even know how to make a song yet. So what are we talking about a song? So you turn off, if you see over, when I hover over this, it says, first, it has the name of the song, Spooky Beats. But when I hover over this button over here, that says View Playlist. So as I go back and forth over that button, this left window here is going to tell you what's going on. So if I move over, I see View Playlist, I move off. The button to the right of it is View Piano Roll. So I want to see the piano roll, I don't want to see the piano roll, and that triggers that on and off. The next one you're going to see over here says View Channel Rack. Third one over is View Channel Rack. Channel Rack is where you assemble all your patterns or your layers of your cake. So what are the layers of your cake? When they're painted out into a song, that is a pattern.
Or a layer.
This is where the pattern is created in the channel rack. So you create your pattern and then you're going to paint it into your song. You're going to take and put the elements together in here. So you're taking pattern 1 and you're going to decide where and how it's going to occur. Now you could put pattern 1 anywhere you want in this. You could have pattern 1, pattern 1, pattern 1, pattern 1, pattern 1. And it would read just like this, a continuous song. But it's much easier to put all of pattern 1 into track 1. So that you know track 1 is only going to contain pattern 1. Why is that important? The next one over is the mixer. So as you roll over these buttons, over here it says View Mixer when I roll on and off of this button. So that's the mixer. I take it off. I'm looking at my song. I put it back on. That's the mixer.
That's to adjust the flavors of your cake.
Yep, so let's talk about Mixer a little bit. And I'm talking about Mixer not really knowing what Mixer does and all the things it can do, but I know a little bit about it. So here is track 1 up here. Track 1 is automatically, I want to say, the first 4 of your pattern. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are automatically read to these first sets of your mixer. So what does that mean? You can control the elements, the sound levels and other things. I don't know all the things this does yet, so we are just learning. But I know I can bring the sound up and down of each individual piece. So by default, the first 4 pieces, let's see, this is almost where we need to go back to our other work.
What first one you created?
Let's go back to the controller song because you have 808 kick, clap, hi-hat, and a snare. So what happens is your kick This is a good learning lesson too. I click the kick button and it shows the sound. I click here, it'll play the sound. And then you can modify some different features of the sound, which we're not going to mess with yet. But these little buttons will modify how the sound is going to sound. Yeah.
So if you bring that back up, so there's the volume up there. So you can adjust the volume too.
So that's where we talked about where we had too many elements on the screen and it was overwhelming, right? And so what we did was one of the things we played with was the volume of each of the things you were hearing. And you can do that right here. If I roll over here, what I'm doing with my finger is I'm rolling my mouse up and down. So watch what happens. You see how I can bring that down and it's coming down. What am I doing? I'm rolling my finger down on the mouse. I'm rolling my finger back up on the mouse. I'm rolling my finger back up on the mouse, and it's changing the volume. So that's how I can do that. Now I need to learn more about my controller here because I'm fairly certain, in fact, let's test this out. This first button says volume. How much you want to bet? Look at that.
Oh, really?
Look
I
at
didn't
that.
know that.
When I go like this, up
I
and
did
down,
not know that.
on the volume, it is controlling the volume element. So now she's turning it down and up. So that is an excellent way you can use your controller to save you the time of, and you find it and you do it. Whereas you have a nice big knob right here and you just go up and down real quick. So that could improve your workflow speed once you figure out that's how you use the controller. So that's pretty cool. So next one says pan. There's a pan button. Let's see what goes up and down. Can we notice? Oh, look at that.
Oh, God. Well, I'm learning so many stuff here with you.
That's cool, huh? So look at that. So this says pan, and I can control the up and down pan. So let's set it back to the center. Can you bring it back to the center where there's nothing showing? I think we were at neutral pan. So I think you added a little bit. It doesn't matter though. So we're going to have to learn, what does pan mean? We know what volume means. What does pan mean? We have
filter.
Filter. So when I adjust that, it starts saying filter frequency. You see, so what I'm doing is I'm touching, Lisa, can you just leave that one?
Okay.
We'll put this one up. It goes down and up, and it makes it go down. Why don't you want to put it back up? That was the third one. Put it back up and all the way. You just put it all the way back up. It goes to 100 and stops. So they'll go to 100 and it'll stop. So squeeze it back up. Just keep. Okay, that's good. No, put it back and leave it. Great. Okay. So what you can do is you can control different aspects of just one sound. So you want to turn the volume down on that, and I'm going to hit it. Keep going a lot so they can hear it. And it makes it go away almost to nothing. And then bring it back up to full volume. So what that was doing was changing that. So put it right there. Well, let's put it back where it was because we want it to sound. That was the pan, so go to the volume. All right, we're learning.
We're learning.
We're learning. Okay, so
We're so happy to be learning.
that is the channel rack. These are the little sounds that are part of your pattern. No, that's fine. There is visual representations. You see how this looks like a little cable that comes around? So I'm going to assume that is the master volume. So that's telling you channel 1 is going to master volume. Channel 2, I clicked over here. Channel 1, channel 2. Different sound. You see how they create a little visual representation of a virtual wire? So that's letting you know this channel and that channel are all wired to master volume. This will become important later on. In the Mix does some fantastic videos about how to wire things together and what can you do with that when you really get good you can take certain elements of, let's say, percussion and put all your percussion together and wire them all together so that you can control all your percussions with one slider, let's say. So you could take all your percussions and watch the In the Mix video on this. He does a fantastic job of explaining it. So let's say you had your first 4 tracks wired. Let's see how those are wired. First 4, right? So you could decide and have your 5th or your 6th or your 7th, and that slider can control certain elements of a pattern all together. You could have 3 of them or 2 of them or all 4 of them route to another volume switch over here. So later on we're going to learn how to do that, and we have to watch In the Mix.
More stuff to learn.
More stuff to learn, but we're just trying to show, because we've already had the luxury of using it a couple times, so we need to not, we're taking for granted all the stuff we've learned in just 2 sessions, and I really feel we've learned a lot already.
I know, right?
So you can see how in just a couple sessions we already are much more comfortable with how the software works. So thank you very much. So what do we have? We know that we have our browser on the left. Our browser on the left contains the elements of our song that we want to put into our channel rack. Channel rack is where you make the patterns, the little pieces of your song.
The flavors of your song.
The flavors of your cake, if you will. So, what do we want to bring? Let them eat cake. Let them eat cake. And then, so here, this is the playlist. Now, the playlist is where you're going to paint the pattern pieces. So, for example, we have pattern 1. Let's bring that back up. How would I bring that up? I would find my channel rack button, the 3rd one over. I click that, and that brings on and off my channel rack. The channel rack is where you're assembling your patterns. So, do you want to hit the play button for me?
And play.
So down here, you can see it's going through, and it's going to play different things on whether or not they're checked or not. Okay, you want to scoot out of the shot a little bit? We also get a visual representation. This controller is super cool, and you get a little sliding visual representation as it goes through the pattern. The lights change. Or you can see it here on this slider here. It goes through the pattern. Hit the pause. It has paused halfway through. The lights have stopped halfway through. That's giving you an indication 2 different ways, if you have a controller or if you don't have a controller. This will tell you where you are in your pattern on the bottom here. So
and
hit,
if you press...
want to play? Or if you hit stop button, it resets you to the beginning. Hit play again, hit pause, and it stopped it. Now hit play again,
Okay.
Ooh, hit play, and pause, and then start it again.
As in
Play as in play, and then it continues. So those are the different ways you use it. Alright, so we have a pattern we have created. This was pattern 1, right? Do you want to rename it?
Sure. Let's rename it. What shall we rename it? Cake. Cake.
Okay, so what did I do? Oops. I accidentally painted it. I left-clicked and I accidentally painted. I right-click and it makes it go away.
Oh, that's nice.
So I hovered over my pattern, and if I right-click on this, it brings up some options. One of them is rename and color. So we can call this, what do you want to call it, the drums?
The drum.
We'll just call it drums. We don't know what we're doing,
So.
but we're just doing it. So
Sure.
we have our paintbrush tool selected here. So here they have different tools. You could do a draw tool, a paintbrush tool. These are these little guys right here. And again, I'm so sorry, we're going to get presentation software soon, but we're making do with what we got. So as I come off of here, it becomes a paintbrush. If I had a pencil, it would be a pencil. You see how you can't paint with a pencil? It becomes a move tool. So let's undo those. If I select paintbrush and I sweep across, I can paint with a paintbrush. Oop, that was weird. So I don't know what I did there. I accidentally left click again and it offset them with a space between them. I don't know how I did that. I don't know what that did. These are the kind of mistakes you make when you're a novice. So we're just gonna right click, right click, right click, and it all goes away. Paint. There we go. So what did we do? Here's our channel rack where we assemble our little pieces of our song, where we assemble a layer of our cake, if you will. Or if your BusyWorks Beats, it's a puzzle piece in your bigger puzzle. So this is a piece of my puzzle. This is my entire puzzle, and I put some pieces down right here. So that's what we've done so far, right? Mm-hmm. All right, real simple. So we have created a pattern. We did that in our learning how to use the controller. And we just randomly selected stuff and hit play.
Play.
And that's what it sounds like. Now, if you don't like the tempo, let's leave it running, Lisa. Leave it running. Up here is your tempo. Again, I have my little roll button here. I can roll up and down with my mouse. I hover over here and I can make the beats go faster, or I can slow it down.
I think faster was a little better.
A little better, right around 80.
Yeah.
So there you go. And if you didn't like the way that continuous roll went,
you can also get rid of this.
and that created a pause. You like them? Bring them back in.
You can honestly
Or if you don't have a controller, you can by hand. You know, I left click, it makes it. I right click and I take them away. And you can listen as it's going what you're doing to your song and how it's going to change the flavor of it.
The flavor of the cake.
So if you want another kick, you decide I like a little more kick in here later on. So there you go. Take it away, and that's how you do it. So left click makes it come on, right click makes it go away.
Or on your controller, you can
Or on your controller, if you're fortunate enough to have a controller, which you can get for $99 right now.
Right here.
You can make the elements come on
Or come off.
or come off with a press of the button.
See.
All right, so let's pause it.
Oh, it even shows, I swear I just saw drums up on there.
Oh, nice. So do that again. Hit play. So instead of saying pattern 1 there, because we renamed pattern 1 drums, it says drums.
I mean, it does kind of sound like drums.
It does sound like it is drums.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this is the way you can put your pieces together. So if you want to hit the pattern down button and create a second pattern.
Didn't we already have a second round?
I don't know if we did.
I'm pretty sure. Wait.
See, now we have a pattern 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm still learning here.
No, it's fine. I just don't know. We might have had it. It might not. I don't know. It's hard to say. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So let's go to pattern 2. It says pattern 2
pattern?
here. Let's see. I wonder if I right click here. Oop.
Sorry.
That's fine. So what did you hit?
Or hit countdown so that way it was.
Okay, so when I hit count, when she hit countdown, that made my drop down window go away. So do it again. So she hit a button, and that brought away the drop down. That's fine. So it's good to learn. So if you have something open and you accidentally hit a button, it's going to make your drop down go away.
Okay.
So this is the same options, rename in colors. So this pattern 2 over here has the same options as if you right click on it over here. Same options.
That's interesting.
Well, it's good to know you can do it in 2 separate places. So you rename, let's call this just a sound 1.
Sound 1. I like it. Sound 1.
And so what we can do, now you go over to your browser. We were working on drums. Well, let's see special effects. So if you click the sound, so I'm left clicking, there's your favorite.
That was chore swell.
Choir swell.
Oh, I call it chore swell.
Yeah, it looks like chore. But
Chore.
it's choir.
Choir. Okay, choir.
So you click on them. If you double click, oh, you don't. Oh, I thought double clicking would bring up the actual. Ooh, this was my favorite one right there. That's a great one to play around with.
I know, right? That was.
So let's bring that. And now it shows. You see how it's not just a quick short thing, it's a big noise and then it tapers off. So if I double click on it, is it a single click? No, I have to double click on it. If I double click on it, it brings up the pattern. And then you can do things like adjust the volume.
On the controller, what I'm doing.
On the controller. So pull it back all the way up.
As in right here?
Yep. But there's other things that you can do with it. I think we we'll save this for later videos. But you can, you see how the sound pattern looks right now? Leave it alone, Lisa.
Okay.
The sound pattern looks like this.
But if you change
But
something,
you can, let's roll this up and down. You can change the time. You see how it's changing how long it takes or doesn't take? So if I bring that up, let's close that out. That element was this long, and now it's that long. So let's see. You want to hit the play button for us?
Play.
Now here's a good learning lesson. We're in pattern, not song. We're trying to look at our song, but we're in pattern mode. So hit the pattern song button. The pattern song button on your controller is here. The pattern song button up here. Ooh,
So
I have a touch screen on, so it switched. So song, pattern. You can switch that way. Or, do you want to switch it for us?
So pattern is like on the channel rack, I think? Is it
Correct, yeah. Pattern is your channel rack.
And song is this.
So the term for this is your playlist.
Okay.
So your playlist is a song, and so it's playing the different elements of your song, your different channel rack patterns.
And
then let's see what happens. Whoa. You see how that completely changed the sound?
I swear, it was a different sound. I swear it.
It was a completely different sound.
I swear myself, I swear.
So, you want to stop it? Hit the play pause?
Shall we stop?
And we'll stop it. So, just by increasing or decreasing the time, let's go back to here and let's play it again. That's what it does sound like normally. If I roll the time and I make it longer, look how much it changes the character of it.
I think I like this.
And then what you can do also is you adjust the volume and you can make this just a real subtle little noise in the background where people are listening to your song like, what is that going on in the background? What is that? Or you bring it up
and it's
a huge element. And now you see how it's all the way at the end of it and it's tapering off almost to nothing. But if we shorten that back up,
I swear I just saw it short enough.
you did. So that's the short sound. If you increase the time, you actually see it roll. Let's move that down here so we can see the element. So here is the element. Oops. Normal. And then I can stretch it out, and it actually shows you how much it's going to stretch out your element and how it's going to interact with the other items. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
Wow, that is so cool. Let's start that back again.
You want to play it?
And shall we play the song? I like that.
That's good, huh? All right.
I'm having a lot of fun here.
It is fun, huh?
Very.
This is great. You know, it's a great way to have fun with the kids. You relate with the kids. And the kids get to learn about not only a cool piece of software, but they also get to learn about music as much as I have the ability to teach them. But anyway, do you want to wrap it up here?
Yeah.
So what have we learned? Let's do a little quick summary. We learned some of the simple buttons. Your simple, most important buttons. And I do suggest you go watch the videos of In the Mix and BusyWorks Beats. Those are fantastic video learners to learn from, I should say, or content creators. These buttons right here are the most important things. You click them. That was the playlist. I made the playlist come on. I made it go away. Piano roll. On, off. You see how elements come on and off as I am clicking a button. So that went away.
Clicking and clicking.
Here was my channel rack. And you see how there's only one element in pattern that we've renamed sound 1. It now is just over here as one item in a channel rack. Instead of seeing 4, because do you want to change the pattern? To 1. See where it says sound 1, and now it says drums.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So there's our channel rack in pattern 1, which we renamed it drums. Katya, she's eating. Oh, you're right. You shouldn't touch it because you're. Okay. When you're done eating, you wash your hands and you can play too. You want to hit the pattern button? So we renamed pattern 1 to drums. You want to pattern down?
And we named this one sound 1.
Sound 1, and so sound 1. Oops, interesting. It's interesting how the channel rack didn't readjust. Let's open and close the channel rack and see if...
Maybe if it was pattern, because it was on pattern.
Huh.
We put on song, and then reload it.
Oh. But do you have to...
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Interesting?
See, we're trying to figure out what we're not seeing here. Okay, so...
Interesting.
Bring up the channel.
As in one.
So if I bring the channel rack up now,
Will it show?
third one over is channel rack. Okay, so you have to have it selected. Okay.
Okay.
We're learning. Okay, so if I select this, and then I bring up the channel rack, it's going to show that.
But now shall we change?
No, let's. I have to physically select. I physically select that. That says FX Echo. Did you change the?
No.
No. Okay. Let's bring up the. But then the channel rack. Okay, so to have the correct thing show up in your channel rack, I think you have to select it. So we select pattern 1, which is we've renamed to drums. Let's select it. Hold on.
Ooh, it turned back. It turned on. It turned on.
And now we see it. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the word.
I washed.
You wash your hands. Okay, why don't you change the pattern for me? Go down 1 and go back up 1. So here we're on our drum pattern and go down. Now we're in our sound effect.
And now shall we press?
And it shows that we're in song mode. So if we went just to pattern, that could be it too. So now we're back into pattern. See, we're trying to learn because we're completely newbies and lost, yes. So now I'm back. Yeah, let's not sing your song, okay. I don't know that one's good or not. Okay, so I select this and I open up that. This is the channel rack. And it's... Okay. Okay, so I selected it, I bring the channel rack, and I have it. I select it, I bring up the channel rack, and I don't have it. When I double click it, now I have it. Okay, so I think it's all about clicking and selecting, and then you're gonna see that, and you'll visually know whether or not you're in the correct pattern or not. We're gonna have to do some more learning and learn the ins and outs of how and why that works the way it does, but this is the kind of things that people who are just learning need to see. So anyway, do you want to wrap the video up? This is getting awfully long. Yeah. Okay, you want to say goodbye, everybody?
Bye.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed this video.
You want to say happy? Go ahead.
Happy Halloween.
Okay, and then should we close out by playing our spooky... Let's go open. We're not going to save any changes that we made to that. We're going to open our spooky beats.
And shall we see spooky bits?
And this is what Spooky Beats looks like laid out. And what do we learn? This is called the playlist. You can turn that on and off with button 1. That's the first button here. So that's showing your song or not showing your song. So it's selected and I see our song. So who would like the honor of pressing play?
Yeah.
Wire swell.
So we just turned fire swell.
Okay. And let's stop. Stop it because it'll just keep on running over and over and over and over again. Running. Keep them doggies running. Okay, everybody say good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you very much for learning with us. Please like and subscribe. If you've made it this long, it's amazing. So anyway, we hope we'll have more. And please leave constructive comments. The kids might read them. Please don't be mean. Leave constructive comments about what you would like to learn, what we missed, things you could suggest. If you have a good explanation for something you saw us do, like we were having trouble switching back and forth and figuring out which pattern rack would show which track.
Yeah.
So anyway, good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you.
Stay safe.
Yeah, everybody stay safe. Thank you, Image Line. Thank you, FL Studio. And thank you, Teresa. We're having a lot of fun with this. And I hope everybody else is too. And this would make a fantastic holiday gift, I think. We're having a ton of fun. And the kids are learning. It's good. You're building different areas of your brain than you normally would. And this is way more constructive than sitting in front of a tablet. So, everybody, thank you. Have a good night.